It's the dog,
Oh boy.
and I'm on the two-way. Morning meeting, yeah, that's how we start the day. No fake news, no fluff, just real talk for real. We getting down to the facts, know the deal. Got creators and thinkers all in one place. Podcasters, journalists, yeah, we set the pace. No censorship, no chains, no traditional TV. Just raw conversation, that's the key.
Yeah, they call it a platform, but it's more than that. It's a community built on a simple pact. You bring your brain, you bring your questions. We bring the insight. From politics to parenting, we ain't scared to fight. For the truth, for the facts, for a civil discourse. Where every voice is respected, no one's getting coarse. We breaking down the boundaries, blurring all the lines. Getting into the details, reading all the signs. From executive orders to the latest tariffs. We're talking about it all, no need for any tariffs.
We're talking about the president's schedule. What's he doing today? Signing EOs, making remarks. That's what the news say. About that 401k alternative assets. Check the time. Real estate, crypto, yeah, that's a positive sign.
Sanctions on India, a summit with Russia, a ceasefire in Ukraine. We're breaking it all down. Ain't no need for a brain drain. Redistricting's a topic. What's the net gain? For the Republicans, Democrats, we're feeling all the pain. The media's bias, is there a golden age? We're asking the real questions, turning over the page. So if you want to get deep, if you want to get real.
All right.
That's pretty good. I like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Previously on the morning meeting. Thanks to our big fan Snoop for providing that theme. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. This is the morning meeting. Thank you for being part of the conversation. If you want to get in on the conversation, a chance of a lifetime, opportunity, thrill of a lifetime to question Sean, Spicer, Dan Turrentine, please, if you're here on the two-way platform, raise your hand. No smack in the chat is a good rule to follow if you're on X or on YouTube, and extending peace, love, and understanding and the presumption of grace to all. Also, a fine idea on any day of the week, but particularly on a Friday. We'll run through the day's news, and then we'll take your questions. So please, again, we'd love participation. Maybe 3 new people today. I'm not going to threaten to cancel the show because we have too many sponsors coming online, and it would crush them to find out the show was off. So did the Knicks play again last night, Professor?
Tonight, they play Boston.
Here, yep. home or abroad?
Here, game 2, yep.
You want to go?
I got a patient here. Otherwise, I would. Yep.
All right.
I'm going to watch on TV.
Okay. Maybe I'll go. I don't know. You know, when you live less than a mile from the world's most famous arena, very difficult to not.
And Amazon makes its basketball debut tonight. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Today the president leaves late in the night. I think 10:30. He departs
after the Knicks game.
Yeah, 10:40. Leaves the South Lawn for Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Nothing on his public schedule today except monitoring the trade war he started with Canada, which we'll talk about in a minute. Shutdown continues. So on Capitol Hill, Congress is out. The Senate left. The House has been gone, as you know. Vice President's got no public events either. He's back from the Middle East. It's some cabinet. The streak is broken, at least as of now. The Speaker of the House is not having a 10 a.m. press conference, but the Minority Leader, Mr. Jeffries, is having an 11 o'clock press conference. Cabinet action, Doug Burgum, star of Two-Way Tonight, is speaking at an event hosted by the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Greer and Besant in Malaysia continuing to meet with their Chinese counterparts. Rubio, another day in Israel before he heads to Malaysia to hook up with the president. Letitia James at 11 o'clock is in federal court in Norfolk, Virginia, to be arraigned on the charges she faces about allegedly fraudulently obtaining a bank loan to get more favorable mortgage terms. And a little while ago, the Consumer Price Index for, what would that be, for September, belatedly came out, delayed by the shutdown. And here's the headline from, where's that headline from? CNBC? CNBC. Inflation rate hits 3.0 in September, lower than expected, although not much lower. Long-awaited CPI report shows. So often on the program, in order to figure out what's going on with these economic figures, which can be a little confusing, whether it's inflation or unemployment, we turn to our business correspondent, Rick Santelli. And Rick, I'm warning you right now, I don't want something incomprehensible. I want something super clear. I want something that tells everybody exactly and clearly what do these inflation numbers mean. Rick?
Yeah. You're excited, Rick?
Yeah, excited isn't the word. The market should be excited, too. Here's our late but coming out September read on the Consumer Price Index. Headline number up 0.3, 1/10 cooler than both rearview mirror and what we were expecting. And if we look at the stripping out of food and energy known as core, it comes in also a bit less than expected, up 0.2. We were expecting up 0.3. Our last look was up 0.3. Here's the Moneyball numbers. Year over year, 3%. And even though it's less than the 3.1 we were expecting, it's hotter than 2.9. And after all, it's got a 3 handle. And if we look at CPI year over year,
Rick, please, can you make this a little clearer? I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
We're also expecting 3.1,
yeah.
but last look was 3.1, so it cooled a bit. So we're seeing interest rates move down and stocks move up.
Okay. All right. I got no idea what Rick Santelli just said. Dan, could you translate that into English?
Yeah, it's neither good nor bad. It's about, where they wanted. But on a good note, corporate earnings this week have been pretty good, which is, the economy's remaining resilient. A lot of across many sectors, companies are saying things are, okay.
Yeah, and I use the Spicer Flour Index. Sean, the more expensive the flour is behind you, the more I know the economy's booming. Did you understand what Rick Santelli said?
My takeaway is 3.
Yeah, the 3 with the handle. What do you say? The handle? The something handle?
The Moneyball number. It's
the Moneyball number is 3. He's like doing lottery numbers. All right, well, we'll talk more about that. The shutdown continues, as we said. Mr. Jeffries went on the TV, the Idiot Box, the Boob Tube, Squawk Box, the same show in which Rick Santelli clarified the unemployment numbers. Here is the gentleman from Brooklyn.
We've made clear in the House that we will consider anything.
He looks better rested than I've seen him in a while.
In good faith, in a bipartisan way that both reopens the government while at the same time addresses this healthcare crisis and extends the Affordable Care Act tax credits in a meaningful way. The 90% or so of the people who benefit from these Affordable Care Act tax credits make $63,000 per year or less. And a significant number of small businesses and entrepreneurs across the country rely upon the Affordable Care Act tax credits in order to provide health insurance for themselves and for their families. So this is an issue that needs to be addressed. In fact, we know that red state residents actually are disproportionately higher represented in terms of the Affordable Care Act tax credits than any other part of the country. And so we're fighting for the American people here. And hopefully we can find a bipartisan path forward.
All right. Sean Spicer, where are we on the shutdown?
Well, one, I was surprised to see both Georgia senators yesterday vote. So yesterday was this Ron Johnson amendment. What that meant was military members and what they're calling essential employees, meaning if you're being forced to go to work right now, air traffic controllers, Border Patrol, TSA, and obviously active duty military, then you'd get paid. 45 Democrats voted against it, but they picked off the 2 Georgia senators, Ossoff and Warnock, which I actually, this is what, this was the sort of the game. The question I had is who falls for that? I'm actually shocked that not more did. I'm one, shocked that the Democrats not enough Democrats peeled off, but 2, I was absolutely embarrassed how bad the Republican response was. They should have been out on the steps last night with military members and Border Patrol and saying, this is insane. The idea that they voted and then bolted is an embarrassment to the Republican Party. What they did last night, how they're messaging this, there's not another vote. It's literally the lamest response I've ever seen. Senate Republicans should be embarrassed by how bad they're messaging this.
Clip that off. Dan, where do we stand on the shutdown?
I think that I still think next week this is going to start getting real because of the continued, and Max mentioned this yesterday, you're seeing local press in blue and red states about the SNAP issue. And I think this is going to start to hit home. Like, it's real lives of real people here. And we
today's payday for federal employees, and they're not getting it. And to Dan's point, Senator Youngkin here in Virginia declared a state of emergency to help get people resources. So that's going to start reverberating. And this is, to Dan's point, November 1st is a big day because it's your next big SNAP deadline. So today's a payday. Yeah. And so for millions of Americans, they're dealing with, what do we do now?
Dan.
One other thing that I found was James Blair did an interview with our friends at Punchbowl and said the White House does not support the Obamacare reauthorization of the credits, which they had been saying that they were in support of. Now they're saying they're not, and they're saying they're going to do their own bill, which is astonishing. Great if they are, but what's interesting is Thune's been saying, yeah, we know we need to deal with it. Johnson is not committing to dealing with it. And the White House has now changed his position.
Sean's friend James Blair sometimes freelances a bit. Sometimes he freelances a bit. So we'll see. Here's Caroline Levitt on the inflation numbers. Came in below market expectations thanks to President Trump's economic agenda. This is good news for American families, and it's a shame the Democrats are using them as, quote, leverage to fund health care for illegal aliens. Okay, let's just close off here talking about the shutdown. Sean, just give me a date. October 24th is today. What day? Not the final vote, but what day is there? Is there an agreement about how to end the shutdown?
Today's Friday. They're not back till next week. I could pencil them in to 5 November.
5 November. Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to say right after the election. So the election is the 4th. Yeah, I'll say 5 or 6.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, look, here's the deal. Today's the 24th. They're not back until the middle of next week. The House gets 48 hours no matter what. Best case scenario, you're looking at the 30. I mean, I'm looking at the calendar.
But I'm not talking about it's going to take a week to get it done. But I'm talking about the process beginning. I'm a little bit more bearish than you guys because I still think there's going to be a false start. I think it's going to be like, okay, there's some Senate Democrats who say, let's make a deal or whatever. But then I think there's going to be some blowback and it's all right.
So give me a date.
Take a second round. I say the 15th.
Ooh.
I mean, look, I'm not. The funny thing about that, again, when you actually pull the calendar out and look at this, I don't think that's crazy. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
That's the scary part about this.
All right. All right. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at Fairway and Green. All three of us wearing great merch from Fairway and Green with the two-way and morning meeting logos. It's available to you if you want to be part of our gang, our group, our club, our community, or you're starting to think about holiday gifts and you want to buy some nice merchandise. All the things on the Fairway and Green website available to you with 20% off using the promo code two-way20. Go to twoway.tv/fairway to find your way to the site. You can get catchphrases on the sleeves. You guys got any sleeve catchphrases? I don't today.
No,
but
well, you're not. You have to have a morning meeting when you get a catchphrase.
Oh, is that the way it works? All right. So no snap. You can get no snap, no smack in the chat. You can get peace, love, and understanding. You can get conversations like no other, whatever you want. And whether it's the polos, the quarter zips, there's just great stuff on there. And as we've told you before, it's the highest quality stuff you'll ever wear. It's beautiful. It's like a work of art. I have some framed around the house because they're so lovely. Again, Sean, remind people where they can go.
Mark, I'm glad you asked. You can go to twoway.tv/fairway and use promo code twoway20 on any of the items site-wide.
Yeah, highly recommend it. And again, I'm telling you, we'll be saving you for the holidays because you'll be doing all your shopping there. All right, let's go overseas. A bunch of international stuff to discuss. First, as we said, the president leaving shortly. Number 104, please, on this Asia trip. 4 stops, Malaysia, and then Tokyo. I mean, 3 stops. Yeah, Malaysia, Tokyo, and then South Korea. ASEAN to host Trump at summit as U.S. and China seek to avert trade war escalation. The president's meeting with Xi scheduled for Thursday, so 6 days from now. This is a very busy trip. The talk that he may meet with Kim Jong-un. He'll be meeting with the new Japanese prime minister. I don't know if he's ever actually met her in some other context, but obviously the first time he'll have met her as PM. And here's a 105 BBC headline. Trump will meet with Xi in South Korea, says White House. Not a very exciting headline. All right, Dan, obviously the Xi meeting is a key part of the trip, but what would you expect the various deliverables along the way? If the White House does this right, what are some of the headlines we'll see from the 3 stops?
I think the hope is that all those other countries make some sort of statement alluding to kind of aligning with Washington or a deal of some sort, whether it's economic or military, so that China knows that we are continuing to strengthen our alliances around them to ultimately confront them or manage them. I think that's your hope.
John, there's stories in both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times today about sort of Xi's posture towards Trump and where they stand. Who comes in here with the stronger hand and why?
I think China comes in with a stronger hand because we need more from them right now than they need from us. And at least I'm not entirely sure I agree with the analysis in that story, but I do think that Xi definitely does feel a little bit more emboldened in terms of how he is dealing with Trump. So I think coming out of this thing, getting a headline that says, tariffs paused, deal on rare earth, soybean purchase, imminent. But that's and then we agree to pull back some of the export controls. That's where they've got to have a path forward and give a sign that something's moving in the right direction.
Watch to see if Xi gives on Russia during their summit. That may be some movement there. What's the biggest headline out of the trip going to be besides China related? Something not China related, Sean.
China contributes to big ballroom. And
no, nothing with China. Something unrelated to China. Anything or every headline? What's the biggest non-China headline?
Well, I think I think
trip.
there's obviously a big Middle East component in the Malaysia stop. So that would be where I would go on that.
Yeah. Dan, as both Kevin McCarthy and I have said, this is the shutdown about nothing. It's been much remarked that the president, some have said no president would go on a foreign trip in the midst of a shutdown. Can you use your understanding of media, politics, government, zeitgeist to explain why is it not even being discussed? Why aren't the Democrats saying, Mr. President, don't go on this trip?
A horrible video on this yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not their dominant message. Why is the president being? Again, I'm not taking a position, but I'm just surprised that that's not being discussed very much.
I think because he can walk and chew gum. I think there's we hear from him hourly. We hear from him directly. There's no ambiguity. I don't think anybody, I mean, it's just like, he plays golf all the time and nobody bats an eyelid. But in years past, that was a huge deal.
Yeah, there's two things at play. One, to Dan's point, this is a very active president. So you can't say like, wow, he was playing golf and we didn't hear from him for 3 days. The guy's like playing golf, texting, truthing, doing interviews. I mean, there might as well be a camera on the front of the golf cart. So that's number one. Number two is this is a very unique fight. The dynamic doesn't. I know they want to drag him into it, but it's not the Senate needs the votes. The president, ostensibly doesn't have the same optics. But then third is that what he's doing is important, right? It's not like it's saying he's going off to Wally World to hang out for the weekend and ride rides. This is a guy who's saying, we're sitting here talking about the big agenda with China, Middle East peace. He's got a big agenda and he's getting things done. And that's a contrast. It's not like he's going to some apex, thing in Sydney, Australia to hang out on the coast.
I wonder the last time he was on an amusement park ride. The BBC has got a big breaking news banner up saying Zelensky is in the UK to meet with allies. Is that breaking news? Did he sneak into the UK? Maybe he's seen Mary Poppins in the West End. I don't know. All right. That's that foreign story. Now, listen carefully, North Americans. That sound you hear is a trade war between the United States and our neighbor to the north, the Canadians. President Trump last night on Truth Social, and then again this morning, making it clear that this outrage committed by the Canadians will not stand. What's the outrage, you ask? I'll show you the outrage. Take that down. Give me 60 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. This is the cause of a massive war between the United States and its second largest trading partner. 107, please play it all.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Outrageous. We should be bombing them. Just kidding. Here's the president on Truth Social today, bookending one from last night. I'll read it in full. Canada cheated and got caught. 3 exclamation points. If you put Trump's tweets through AI or Truth Social posts, you will not see that many uses of the triple exclamation point, which, by the way, is in here twice. They fraudulently took a big ad buy saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs when actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court in one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. Canada has long cheated on tariffs, charging our farmers as much as 400%. Now they and other countries can't take advantage of the U.S. any longer. Thank you, the Ronald Reagan Foundation, for exposing this fraud. Make America great again. Triple exclamation points. As Sean told me at the top here, before we started, the Reagan Foundation put out a statement saying that President Reagan's views on trade not fully in context in that delightful 60-second, well-produced video. Sean, I assume this will all settle down, but
Yeah.
is this,
So
is this a
let's-
big
let's-
rupture?
Well, yes and no. It's a pain in the butt, to be blunt. So Mark Carney, the new prime minister, I think has been doing a pretty good job of creating a good working relationship with President Trump. Doug Ford, the mayor of Ontario, is the one who behind this ad, who has been a thorn in Trump's side. He launched this ad. It was not, I have a feeling, Carney last night was trying to get a hold of the president, from what I'm told. And again, has really sort of gotten a good working relationship going with him. I got to imagine that he's calling on Mayor Ford and saying, can you knock this off? This is not helpful to the overall trade relationship. And because it came from Ford and not Carney, I think that this hopefully gets walked back pretty quick.
Dan, can you imagine? Normally we think of the Canadians as mild-mannered, but what a provocative commercial. Just kidding.
Yes, it's a Trumper tantrum. I mean, it's just embarrassing that Trump behaves like this. I mean, first off, if misleading ads, which it isn't in the macro, I don't think any of us would say Ronald Reagan was one of the great free traders and gave a bazillion speeches on the virtues of free trade to try to pretend like he was some sort of in love with tariffs. I get they're saying it's not the full picture, but it's just a pathetic, embarrassing Trumper tantrum. I was sitting with my wife last night when the Wall Street Journal alert came out, and she just started laughing. I mean, it's just the average person just says this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Reagan was a free trader, again, as you said. Breaking news from the Associated Press. Pete Hegseth says another strike in the Caribbean targets alleged drug running boat killing 6. Even as the president deals, I've said this before, with Russia, Ukraine, Middle East, and China, even and the tariffs around the world, this is the largest change in American policy towards Latin America since Roosevelt, or at least in my lifetime. I mean, there's never been an administration engaged bilaterally with so many people in the country, in these Latin American countries, and it's hard to keep track. Every day stuff happens. But here's one thing that, and we haven't talked about it enough here. Here's one thing that's going on that is definitely worth talking about. 112, which is the president's aggressive posture towards Venezuela. And Congress, which laughably every so often likes to pretend it's a co-equal branch, is upset that the president thinks he can just have undeclared wars. Senate GOP chair declines hearings on Trump's boat attacks off Venezuela. Democrats and some Republicans, like Rand Paul, are saying, Mr. President, you can't just go to war with Latin American countries without a little check-in with us. Dan, where does this stand? Not just Venezuela, but the president's overall Latin America overhaul.
Well, I mean, part of this is we don't know. And the reason that I think this is important is and we talk a lot about off-the-record Republicans complain. This is an issue where the White House has gone to brief in private and classified briefings. Both parties, a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats, come out saying they're not telling us anything. They're being, pretty silent on a lot of details. And they won't even, they're so afraid of Trump, they won't hold a public hearing. I mean, whether you agree or disagree, there ought to be a public airing of who we're targeting, providing, more information. What is the bigger play here? What are we trying to achieve? Because Trump made a comment offhand yesterday that we're now going to start doing this on land. And that is, forget international waters. It sounds like we're now going into Venezuela or possibly Colombia and start targeting people that he's talked about going into Mexico. There ought to at least be a public discussion about this.
Just quick point of clarification. Thanks to Dave. I do read the chat. Doug Ford is the premier of Ontario. The mayor was his late brother, Rob. So I apologize for my failure to fully.
That's okay. That's okay. Brett Baer said the other night that Chris Sununu was running for Senate. So,
well, that's a whole separate.
Yeah.
But I got my Ford family Ontario positions mixed up.
My point is even if Brett can make such a mistake, humans can't too.
Thank you. So look, I think that as I've said before, I've looked into this. There's a big difference between preemptive strikes, and history is replete with them going back to the beginning of our country, with preventive strikes to stop, a variety of threats entering our country. There's a big difference between that and what Dan was saying when the president did allude to going into a country, right? That's a very different thing, and obviously requires a much different legal analysis. So we'll get to that if that were to happen. I will say, just going back to that headline from Axios, can we just put that back up for 1 sec, please? Like, this is a BS headline. Jim Risch of Idaho is the chairman. No one, they went and asked him, "Are you having hearings?" And he said, I have nothing scheduled." He didn't decline. He's the chairman. He sets the agenda. He sets them. Because you get asked a question, that's one of the most misleading headlines in Axios.
Well, no, the Democrats have asked him to have hearings, and he's declined.
So what? But do you know what? Republicans asked this is
but this isn't, Sean. This is a big deal.
But I mean, no. This is Axios creating fake news. The chairman decides the schedule, and if they want to play this game, then every time.
Sean,
there's so many examples of fake news. This is not one of them. So many.
Okay, well, it is, because the idea that if we're going to play that game, then every time someone asks a Democrat to do something they don't, the headline should be Pelosi declines to do this, or Jeffries declined, and that's not how it works. The only reason Axios wrote that is because they are a left-leaning publication. That was BS. And that's why people hate journalism.
All right, we'll talk more about Latin America. Let's move on. New poll from Emerson out this morning showing yet again that Gavin Newsom is poised for a huge victory in California. 57% in California support yes on Proposition 50. And the recriminations on the Republican side, still not clear to me what exactly happened. They're being badly outspent. And we're also in the midst of a sort of whether you call it the second wave or the third wave of redistricting efforts popping up all over. Democrats in Virginia, more talk about Florida. Indiana continues along. What are the other two states that just popped? Ohio,
Florida.
But there's another new one that just popped besides Virginia. I forget what it is. Anyway,
they're talking about Illinois, but Illinois is getting a little wobbly on this. Yep.
Yeah. And I continue to say, watch the courts. Some of these things are going to be struck down. And then, of course, there's the Supreme Court possibility that they get rid of racial use in gerrymandering that could bring Republicans tons of seats. So North Carolina also. So Sean, just a short answer. Which party is winning the redistricting wars overall?
I think it's a push right now. I mean, This is, again, just quick numbers. Texas 5, California 5, asterisk plus, because they're going to win on that. I think they net out on that, meaning they take a bunch off the table. Indiana's being a bunch of wusses. Missouri potentially 2. Florida potentially 3 for the Republican side. Virginia, which is a whole nother, that's worth a show what's happening here. The idea, this is unbelievable. They're doing this 12 days before an election while the entire House of Delegates has been up during early voting. That could net 2 to 3 in Virginia for the when the dust settles, potentially you're looking at a Republican net gain of maybe 4 to 6 if Indiana doesn't get some backbone. Dan, this is not, after all that.
Yeah, Dan, do you agree it's a push right now?
No, I think Republicans, for the reason that Sean just ended with, they're going to net seats, and 8 seats may be enough to save yourself. Like if your margin, if you add 3 or 4 plus what you have now, and you lose like 5, majority is a majority.
Well, look, that Supreme Court case, if they say that you can't make majority minority districts, which I think is probably where we're headed, then you do start pulling it. That's the game changer. Then Louisiana comes into play. You push those seats out. Alabama, I think, had one. I mean, you could really do some damage.
Yeah. Dan, let me ask you this. On my new episode of Next Up, you're a big fan of that show. Did you already listen to my Tom Emmer interview?
I did not, because I was in the hospital yesterday
Okay,
with my son.
all
So
right,
yeah.
understood. Anyway, Tom Emmer, I said, what is your message going to be in the midterms for House candidates, incumbents, and everybody else? He said, promises made, promises kept on the border, etc. And then I said, what's the Democrats' message going to be? And he said they don't have one. What is the Democratic House candidate message in the midterms?
Well, I think I think there'll be two things. I think one, they will come up with a proactive message, just like they did, Rahm Emanuel and Chuck Schumer, the famous 6 for 06. These are the 6 things that we'll do for you. And then I think it's going to be a check on power because divided government pulls well.
And on the sex, presumably something on healthcare.
Yep,
what else? What are the other areas that they'll focus on, do you think?
That's a great question. I mean, I know that they're thinking about this. There's working groups in the House and in the Senate. The DS and the DCCC are actually starting to talk about this. So I think, look, you don't want to, no party would set their messaging necessarily this far out. You want to see kind of where the country is as we head into next spring. And you got to see who wins some of these primaries. But they'll have a positive. I guarantee it. The party's going to have
look. I'll tell you this. I mean, you need to have one to say you have one, but no one gives a crap, to be honest with you. I mean, if you're the Democrats, I would say healthcare costs, cost of living, and I'm going to be a check on Trump. Boom, boom, boom. That's it. And then you have some pocket card that you say we've got a positive agenda. I mean, no one.
Well, I do think the thing they're going to have to be careful of it and this is going to be the contrast with where Trump's going to go, which is promises made, promises kept.
Right.
They're going to say, if you elect them, they're going to try to defund ICE. They're going to pull out the National Guard from in other words, they're going to make you less safe and less secure. And there's going to have to be, just like if you recall in 2006, part of the Democratic caucus wanted to defund the war in Iraq, cut off the money for the troops. And Nancy Pelosi said, guys, knock it off.
Oh, by the way, we're pivoting from Pelosi, who will make her plans known after the election too. We're going to take Zohran Mamdani and make him the poster child for every Democrat.
So that's what I was going to say, which is Jeffries and Schumer are so weak. Pelosi had the iron fist and the base. Yeah. She had the base and she was able to tell them to knock it off because they trusted her. We're going to see.
All right. Who do you think Tom Emmer said when I asked him who the smartest political strategist was in the Democratic House caucus? Who do you think he said the smartest political strategist? No.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Ro Khanna.
No. Steny Hoyer. All right. That interview is available now. I'm going to
Did you believe him when he said that?
I said beyond people who are on Social Security, who would you say? And he said,
by the way, Steny, I think, is getting primary.
He said Richie Torres. Okay. I'll say something. I'll mention something. This is our political potpourri. We're about to get to your part of the program here, community. So raise your hand if you want in on the conversation. I'll say something. You can give one sentence with no semicolons or colons if you want, or you can say pass.
Not really good at grammar.
Here we go. New York City mayor race. One sentence or pass.
Over.
Dan?
I just used a word.
What to watch for this weekend?
Okay, we'll get to that then. New Jersey.
I'm teasing.
New Jersey governor. Anybody want to say anything? Pass? Just for today, you have to
cautious optimism
for the Democrats. Cautious optimism. And Sean, that's right. Sean,
I'll use the same phrase for our side.
Cautious optimism. Okay. All the Virginia races, governor, AG. There was some new polling yesterday. Anybody want to say anything about that?
Oh, well, I'll tell you this right now. Jay Jones, the dump is not done on him. It's going to get worse.
Okay.
Are Democrats worried about base turnout?
Yeah.
That VA redistricting makes me wonder if they are trying to stoke the base because they're seeing get out the vote numbers that make them nervous.
And maybe there'll be 2 Obama stops, one in
down in Tidewater there.
Tidewater and one
Roads.
in Hampton Roads and one in Northern Virginia. Lastly, Plattner. Anybody have anything to say about Plattner?
I'll just say this. Marine Corps buddies. I hope they all got the same tap, buddy.
Yeah. Dan?
What's the phrase? Reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. He's still alive.
Yeah. I'm going to call David Burrell. I want to do a big poll in Maine. Or you know what I want to do? Lori, ask David Burrell. I want to do a focus group in Maine. I want to hear Mainers talking about Plattner.
I think you got to give it like a week. let this settle a little more.
It'll take us a couple days to set it up.
Yeah,
I want to hear a focus group with the main Democrats, primary voters. What do they think of Plattner? All right.
I would imagine maybe someone with the Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee on the outside is probably doing that.
Well, I know, but it won't be here on the two-way.
Yeah, well.
David Burrell, if you're watching, please get me 10 main Democrats. All right, Sean, winner of the week.
My winner of the week. Well, I got to set the clip up first. I want you to see this clip. This is Democrats. Speaking of not the best political strategist on the Dem side, this is Kathleen Clark. She is the whip for the House Dems. Here, play the clip for us, please.
To the winner?
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Okay. So she said it's the American family suffering is one of the points of leverage that they have. Speaker Johnson's comms team, I assume, set that clip up, put it outside, put it on repeat. I give them my winner of the week.
Okay.
Dan.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to have something. Okay.
Sorry.
Mic dropped.
Mine is the mayor of San Francisco, Daniel Lurie. Oh, by the way, Trump is not, at least as of now, has announced that he is not going to go into San Francisco with the National Guard here. There was rumors that they were going to do it. Daniel Lurie as again, mayor of San Francisco, made a real effort to not kind of try to be antagonistic with Trump, not to kind of go after him by name, but to kind of keep his head down and do his job. It worked. He leveraged his relationships with the tech community. Just somebody who's going about doing the work of his area and not trying to, be consumed with Trump derangement syndrome.
I think that, Dan, you're right on that. And also the mayor of Michigan that Mark has talked about before.
Oh, the mayor of Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit. Sorry. I can't get my provinces or my states or anything right today.
Okay. Winner of the week is the young person who produced that Cuomo AI ad. Because he is going down in history. I don't know his name, but he's going down in history as having produced something that will influence American politics forevermore. Sean, loser of the week.
My loser of the week are Dems who are publishing books. So let's start with Corinne Jean-Pierre. Congratulations to her. Her new book came out this week, and she cracked the top 25,000 this week, which is, that's what you're always aiming for. But it got better because Bernie Sanders also put out a new book this week. He did a little bit better. He cracked the top 4,000 in brand new books. So congratulations to Democrats publishing books.
Dan, loser of the week.
It is federal employees. They are they are home, or a lot of them are at home. They will likely get paid here at the end, but getting from here to there, a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck. They have families. They're the kind of, pawns in all of this, along with the American people. So federal employees. And by the way, folks, wait, can I just add, because I'm not saying what Daniel Lurie did is right or wrong, but for him and his politics, it was a great day for him that Trump announced that. So,
right. Just to be clear, I think of loser of the week as the person who performed badly, not someone who was a loser because they got the short end of the stick.
Yeah,
no, but I generally agree. But I think Dan's point is they are unfortunately the losers because there's millions of them that are dealing with this issue. I get it.
All right. My loser of the week is Governor Pritzker. I don't know if you guys watched his interview with Brett.
Yeah.
But it confirmed everything I think about his skill set. I just don't understand why people are taking him seriously as a presidential candidate, except that he's a billionaire. He did nothing to help himself in that interview. He was totally on defense, sputtering, vague, said a bunch of things that when they're fact checked will be proven wrong. And it was a high profile interview. And he goes on there, gets a ton of time. I just don't get why, with his record and his communication skills, why he's considered a serious candidate. And that interview confirmed
the wealth, and it's a big state.
I guess.
think the interview got panned from a lot of direction. I watched. But like his answers, some of Brett.
It wasn't a disaster, but I just think it was a missed opportunity. And again, like if you're going to go in and sit with Brett on set, kill it. Kill it.
But this goes
think
back to when Mandami went on. It's like I've been a press secretary, and people like I either ask my boss like, here's why we should do this, or they would say to me, explain why this makes sense. And if you're JB Pritzker's comms people and they said we're going to do Brett, the answer you should have given is why. Why does this
what's the metric? What's the metric of success?
Right. And the idea of, I mean, he held the thing out and said, Chicago ranks 30th. He goes, you're pulling out statistics. He goes, yeah, murder.
Yeah. Dan.
So I think there's two things. One, Pritzker wants to run. So don't, in terms of why does he get so much buzz and attention? He's working it. He works the press. He's meeting with people, kind of off camera. So the fact that he's so kind of publicly and privately out there, I think people talk about it.
Yeah.
Two, one of the things that's emerging with him is he follows, meaning when somebody else does something, then he goes to do it. And that is a sign of a cautious candidate that is kind of not the tip of the spear out there leading. It's early. We'll see.
Sean, what are you looking for this weekend?
I'm actually looking for Besant. I think priming this meeting with China, any signs that they've got this team over with Jamison Greer. And so what did they say anything that gives us an indication what this Thursday meeting with Xi might look like? That to me is what I want to see movement on.
Dan.
Do Hakeem Jeffries and or Chuck Schumer endorse Mandani between now and Monday? I am looking for tonight, a Friday night dump. and what
Sunday morning at 8:22.
What do they say? Is it how weak or how strong, and what's the reaction of the base?
Yeah. So Monday, the DNC committee that's supposed to set the nominating calendar is meeting. And today, the New Hampshire Democrats gave to Politico their kind of table setter to say, here's why we should be first because we take it seriously, et cetera. The race for the nomination is now it's a joke in terms of how people are thinking about it. Early states matter, whatever the calendar is. So I'm looking to see where we end up. Again, it's Sunday into Monday, but I'm looking to see the jockeying on this thing over the weekend, because once there's a calendar set, then we can have a serious discussion about who can win the nomination, because who can do well in these states. And so, for instance, is AOC a good candidate for the New Hampshire Democratic Party? I'm skeptical. For instance, that's one example.
But would she be for Nevada?
Yeah, she
Very
would.
good.
Yeah, she would. So that's, I'd say, I'm looking to say.
What also has to do with money, right? I mean, you can go to New Hampshire at a lot cheaper date than you could go to, somewhere like Michigan.
Yeah.
So, Mark, do you think? Can I one quick question? Do you think Kamala Harris is trying to influence this?
Good question. Don't know. Good question.
Because I mean, if you're her, this is like the one place you may have some leverage to try to pull, because a lot of those people are still your people.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Remember our rules here. You're most likely to be called on if you're on camera with another person, a dog, or a cute baby. So, Danny, welcome in. Thanks for the two of you for joining.
That's a great name.
Tell us where you are and what's on your mind.
Thank you so much for both first time, long time. We're in Arkansas. Huge fans of what y'all are doing.
Awesome.
I wanted to give a testimonial and just say that I had a terminal case of Trump derangement syndrome, and a steady dose of Mark Halperin, Dan Turrentine, and Sean Spicer can cure that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Although your governor probably stokes it on a regular basis. Where do you live? Where do you live? Where do you live in Arkansas?
Northwest.
Awesome.
Northwest. And I'll also say we're both professors, and I've learned so much about how to manage difficult conversations with students from just watching the show and see the way y'all handle things. So
I totally appreciate that. I recommend a mute button, by the way. I don't know if you can do that in class. But
yeah, that would be great.
What do you teach?
I'm a law professor, and she teaches art history.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you for your nice words about the platform.
And what's your wife's name?
I'm Davida.
Hi, Davida.
Hello, Davida. I'll give you a chance to speak here.
Sorry.
So
actually, we wanted to call in and talk about the White House demolition and construction, because this is, we have a slightly different view.
Right.
Awesome.
I've been listening intently to your critique, and it's well taken. And we come at this from a legal and cultural heritage perspective. Something that we're actually working on a class that we're going to teach together. But my background is in modernism, the art of the earlier 20th century. And my sort of insight into this is that often when governments sort of destroy and replace buildings, monuments very, very quickly, it is a very undemocratic way of rewriting history. Countries come up with these stories and they build these narratives using material culture. And so a example that I often like to give is the example of Russia, the Soviet Union. After the Bolshevik Revolution, they tore down all these churches and put the gold and the jewels and marble into the subways. And one of the sites that they destroyed was the Cathedral of Christ the Savior in Moscow. And they realized after Perestroika that they were sad that they no longer had this enormous monument. And so Yeltsin rebuilt it to the tune of $250 to $500 million, huge drain on the Russian people. So it's a bit of a theft. It's an indication of often broader violence. I don't want to overstate anything here, but also it's just very short-sighted, because often when we I know you don't like to talk about it as destruction, but it's a replacement at least.
Yeah.
You regret it in the future.
Very, very well said. Thank you for that. Very learned. Danny, do you want to say what you think of it?
Oh, no, I'll just defer to the expert. So
okay.
This is outside my scope of expertise.
All right. Dan lives on the Upper East Side near a bunch of fancy museums, so he's probably has something learned to say in response.
No, it's a really interesting way to think about it. In terms of what you just said. I mean, I think the other part of this, I've been thinking about kind of an analogy based on our conversation yesterday. And I think in addition to the cultural side, and I think a lot of people would agree with you in that the White House is an important national institution that people just associate with. Everyone has a memory, whoever your president was, Reagan or Obama or whatever, of the White House. We all know of like somebody who moves into a neighborhood and buys a house. They're wealthy. They put in a permit for like a small renovation and taking a tree out. And they just bulldoze ahead, do a massive renovation, take out tons of trees. Think of Dan Snyder in the Washington area, the famous, took out 500 trees. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry, but it's going to stay. I'm rich. I'm powerful. The rules kind of don't apply to me. And everyone in the neighborhood says, look at that house. Look at that SOB who blew off everything, did what he wanted to do. I know, again, I get the ballroom. I actually think it's needed for the White House. But again, we all agree. He lied. And it's like the classic Trump. You just bulldoze literally and figuratively through, and it's like, kiss my you-know-what. I'm doing this.
Sean.
I look at this and go, I wonder what the conversation is going to be in 2 years when everybody's saying, wow, what a beautiful ballroom, and look at the events that are happening and how practical this is. I've watched video after video. I've watched thing after thing where renovations have occurred. People have knocked down stuff. There's a whole thing that has now been put out that happened under Obama's watch when they redid the front of the facade and the back. I mean, like, this happens. Now,
not like
it might be bigger. It might be a lot bigger. But the bottom line is, I cannot believe everybody's freaking. Like, this is going to be a great addition to the country. It won't even be done till close to to the end of his term. This is a gift to the American people going forward. There's no cost to the taxpayer, and it's going to be hugely beneficial and practical going forward to host international events.
Why didn't he go through the normal process? Why didn't they go through the National Historical Preservation Board and put why?
Because, well, that's a separate issue. Just because you would have delayed everything. I mean, my bottom line is, I feel like this is where we get wrapped around the process instead of the result.
I just want to thank everybody who's educated me this week, and I'll apologize again. I think I already have once, maybe on the other show. I'm sorry for my tone. I know it bothered some of you. I just remain a little confused about how intensely people feel about democracy dying in demolition. But I'm very grateful to you and to everybody who this week walked me through various perspectives on why this is so upsetting for people. And I get it. Upsetting for a lot.
I will say, because this has been in the news, there's a movement in the Democratic Party that if whoever wins in 2028 will tear it down. To your point, Sean, I do think people will ultimately say this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And like it's needed. But the fact that there's this like brewing, just as a new president redoes the Mexico abortion policy every time. Tear the thing down.
Turn into a daycare center for White House employees. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Suey, go pig. Thank you very much.
They shouldn't tear it down, guys.
Mallory, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Tell folks who don't know where you are what's on your mind.
Hey, I have two questions. One is maybe more for Sean. Maybe both of you will know Dan, Sean. We have a Senate race coming up. Lindsey
Where
Graham.
are you?
Oh, sorry, South Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
And Lindsey Graham is up for election. He's been here forever. But he's running against Annie Andrews, who previously had lost to Nancy Mace. I mean, it's usually a long shot when someone runs against Lindsey Graham. But I heard recently that at one of his fundraisers, he's bringing Trump in, which seems weird to me because usually, like, it's a Republican state. He's a Republican senator. He's a sitting senator. She's already lost a campaign before. I wonder if that's abnormal. He did have like a 30% approval rating back in June, but we don't get a lot of polling about these kinds of things. And I'm just curious, like, is this just because there's 33 seats up for grabs this coming up and Trump's just making the rounds, or do we think that maybe there could be some blood in the water?
Trump Graham Classic, I think they're calling it. It's a golf.
Yeah, so but it's here. It's in Virginia.
Okay,
no, I
okay.
think
so it's at Trump National, as far as I know.
Okay.
And it's a three-way. So it goes to so it's silly and complicated, but basically there's a three-way split on the take. So Lindsey gets a piece for his campaign, his hard dollar campaign. I think the RNC gets a cut, and then Trump's Make America Great PAC. And I could be wrong on the split, but that's the way I understand it. That's not, I mean, look, Lindsey's got a good relationship with the president. That's probably the biggest fundraiser that you can do in terms of bringing in big money. So I think he's just doing what he can and getting as much in the door as quick as possible. And it's very symbolic, right? It tells the base, I've got a great relationship with the president. So it's a smart political move. It raises a ton of cash. I wouldn't read more than that into it. He'll be fine. He'll get reelected by,
I actually read into it, and I've heard it's not that they're worried about the Dems winning the seat. Lindsey Graham, whatever you think of him, has been a Bush Republican, a Tea Party Republican, a Trump Republican. I don't know too many people that look at him and say he's a principled standby, and I think that makes him vulnerable to an attack from the right that you're not, kind of tried and true. And so bringing in Trump, to Sean's point, to say, Lindsey's one of my guys, stand by Lindsey. It's like a vote against him is a vote against me type of argument. Because in a vacuum, I don't know how stable Lindsey Graham is.
Mallory, where do you live?
I live in the upstate.
Okay. So you're not in the first. You're not in Low Country.
No. I'm in Greenville.
Oh, awesome. Nice.
There's a block in downtown Greenville that has 3 Japanese restaurants on one block. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is it near the Peace Center?
I'm in the Peace Center. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you voting for governor?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. There's a lot of really interesting characters running.
Yeah.
I'm not
Mallory,
really sure.
Mallory, did you have a second question?
I did. My second question is, I would like to know, and again, this is probably more of a Sean question, with Trump's agenda, this America First agenda, we're pushing with the tariffs and we're trying to America made all these things. And then recently we've kind of come out, and I can't remember where he posted this, if it was X or Truth Social, but he made a comment about how the American beef farmers are just charging too much and their prices are too high. Now we're going to have Argentinian beef coming in. And maybe it's my algorithm, but now I'm seeing all of these beef farmers popping up on social media, kind of like arguing against why we should be buying American beef and how this is going to hurt them. And I'm just curious, like, how we're reconciling this. And he was talking a lot about, like, their costs are so high. And then they're saying, well, my costs are high because John Deere is screwing us with the right to repair. And they've just filed that lawsuit earlier this year. There's things like, people make arguments that things like Acre Trader are doing things that are causing, the cost of land to go up, and all these different input costs that are increasing for farmers, which are therefore rising the prices of beef. But I just find it interesting that, like, we were on this path of America First, America only. Beef. It just sort of feels like an about face.
Okay, yeah. Mallory, thank you. Sean.
It's a very good but long I mean, the short answer is this: there's two big groups getting pitted against each other: the American consumer that wants cheaper beef, and farmers and ranchers that are finally getting a lot more money coming in because of the higher costs, and they've been through a ton. And then obviously what you discussed, there's a lot of supply chain and big ag issues that they're facing. So I mean, I'll just say you're seeing a lot of pushback from farm state Republicans right now saying, hey, going out and buying Argentinian beef to take down the price might sound great, but it's going to hurt a lot of our folks that are finally benefiting a little bit from this. So there's a lot there. Great question, but a lot to unpack on the other side of this. Why it's costing a lot of these guys a lot more, and the hardships they're facing.
Dan?
I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's the tariffs fair, like point blank. And so you're right. It's a huge challenge. I also wonder what he agreed to with Argentina. You know, we provided them $20 billion bailout. We're asking a lot of them as well, whether perhaps there was an ask to help Argentina. And, you know, Trump was like, sure, I'll try.
Wondered the same.
Yeah.
I wondered the same.
Yeah. Mallory, thank you. Gratefully. How did you start watching Two-Way?
Well, I'm a fan of yours from your Morning Joe days, and Game Change was one of my books. So I started, you popped up somewhere on my algorithm and I saw it and I jumped on, and I've been watching it since before the election.
Yeah.
And I get on every day. I love it. It's good.
Grateful to you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Dan, you skew Southern.
Me?
Well, the whole show. I mean, we get
it's all right. We're equal opportunity.
Yeah. Let's sneak in one more question. Gotta be quick. Gotta be quick. Elise, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind.
Hello, Elise Monroy, Reno, Nevada. I am with the Community Food Pantry, and I would like to, in Reno, we are on track to serve 100,000 people this year. We are a small food pantry in Reno. Our food bank of Northern Nevada is not doing Thanksgiving meals this year because they can't afford it. The social safety net is being decimated. We have not been able to get product from the food bank, so we are having to go to regular grocery stores to buy it to help people. I actually got up at 6 a.m. on my day off to respond to something that Sean said yesterday that left me slack-jawed while I was listening as I commuted to work. Sean, when talking about SNAP benefits, you commented something to the effect of, people who receive SNAP are a Democrat constituency. There are 41 million Americans on SNAP in the United States. 500,000 Nevadans are on SNAP. And I volunteer at the food pantry on a regular basis, and I would encourage you to go to your local food pantry and walk the line. And what you will find is that many people in line at the food bank support Donald Trump. And, but it's just, I would encourage you to walk the line and hear the conversations that people are having, because SNAP benefits are not primarily a Democrat constituency. One other thing that we've noticed is more people now that are coming to us for food assistance are also on SNAP, which means their SNAP benefits are not going as far as they have been. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you for that. Before Sean responds, tell us the name of your organization again, and if people want to contribute, how they can do that.
Thank you. The Community Food Pantry in Reno, Nevada. We are probably going to be one of the only organizations in Reno that's a non-church providing food assistance for Thanksgiving. We're doing boxed meals. We hope we can do 1,000 people, and it will cost us $30,000. So we are on a.
Okay. Is there a website?
Nevada? Is that you?
Is there a website people can go to contribute?
Yes,
yeah, there is.
Yeah, thank you. The Community Food Pantry Reno Sparks is our website.
Okay, Dan's going to put it in the chat. Thank you for that, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, first, just to be clear, thanks for what you're doing, Elise. I appreciate you helping all these folks that are going through troubled times, not just now, but obviously, I think just to be clear on my point, I didn't mean to, obviously, as I've said, I've seen a lot of service members in some of these news reports. So my point was more of a political sensitivity issue. Who is going to react quicker to that, and not who gets the benefit, right? It was more which political party is more sensitive to that outreach. And my point was that's going to trigger a lot more Democrats to pay probably. So again, it was trying to more analysis than it was trying to talk about who gets the benefit. So if that came across that way, then that's not what my intent was.
Well, right, I'm glad that I got a chance to clear it up. So thank you.
Elise, thank you. Come back and tell us how generous our community was, because
I will.
I'm predicting great generosity. Dan, read the URL again. I know it's in the chat, and somebody put it in the YouTube chat, but just so people can hear it.
Yep, it's www.thecommunityfoodpantry Reno RENO Sparks SPARKS Sparks.com, the community food pantry, Sparks.com.
Okay. Everybody,
Great job,
that's
Elise.
everybody give a little bit of something. Elise will give us a report on Monday.
Yes, thank
Elise,
you.
thank you. Sean, what do you have tonight?
Well, a lot of questions. We were talking about Virginia redistricting, Jay Jones, what he did, his community service. Guys, when you hear some of the stuff that Jay Jones, he used his own political action committee to commit to serve time. And we're going to break it down tonight with the Virginia Attorney General, Jason Miyares. So
okay, great.
So, Spidey sense, might news be broken or no? Yeah,
we might have a little something for you on Jay Jones.
All right.
We'll see. Elise, again, thank you for what you do, and everybody, thanks for helping Elise's organization out today. Ethan Strauss, 2:00 here on the Two-Way platform, Random Offense. I'll be back last show of the week, 6:00 tonight on Two-Way tonight, and then we'll see you all Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time, with lots to talk about. Thank you being part. Thank you for being part of the Two-Way community, and go Knicks. Dan, I hope everybody's good there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody.